Hey guys, Max here. Have you considered moving out of your home state to Texas? Is everyone moving from California to Texas? Well, the answer is yes and yes, hopefully. Everyone is moving here to Texas besides my parents and Dave Rubin. So hopefully both of them can get on the train. Here are 10 reasons why I am moving to Texas. Number one, job opportunities. $1.8 trillion was the 2018 GDP for Texas. That's the second largest in the union. And my goodness, that's a ton of money. Also, job opportunity wise, Texas has a ton of Fortune 500 companies. As of 2020, they have 95 of those in Texas. That's almost 20% of all Fortune 500 companies are in Texas. Then some of the ones to keep in mind: Exxon, McKesson, which is pharmaceutical supplies, AT&T, Valero, Dell, Cisco. I mean, all these huge names, American Airlines, and it's really interesting. 3 of the top 10 are from Texas. So it gives you an indication on there's huge job opportunity. I mean, those employers, I think it says right here, those employers employ, yeah, the 500 companies employ 29 million people worldwide. That is absolutely gigantic. And the list makes up, 66% of the total GDP of the whole entire country. So these companies they call them the Fortune 500 for a reason. They're absolutely gigantic. These places are probably the ones that are going to be most of the hiring. And as more and more people flow to Texas, these companies are going to expand operations. So job opportunity is definitely here. Home pricing and cost of living. It is really, truly amazing how much difference it is. This is the home I bought in California in 2015 for about $150,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, about 1,000 square feet. Built in 1959, if I'm not mistaken. 2-car garage, a nice house inside. 1,000 square feet for a single person is plenty of room. If you have anybody more than that, like me when I rented out rooms, oh man, that was really, 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 really tight. But anyway, it was a good house. Besides the huge sagging in the roof in the over the garage. But anyway, it was a very, very good house for what it was, and it was on a quarter acre. That cost about $150 in 2015. Now let's go to Texas. Oh, let's go back to California. Actually, so I sold this house in 2021 for $330,000. So I bought it for $150, sold it for $330. That's how much a house, if you wanted to replace the one in California, that's how much I had to pay to replace it. So $330,000. And in the same month that I was sold this house, I bought this house in Texas. This house is a 3-2, so an additional bathroom, almost 1,700 square feet, so 60% larger. Same 2-car garage, about a quarter of an acre. Honestly a nicer neighborhood. The speed limit on the road I was on in California was 40 miles an hour. This one's 30 miles an hour. So I'm getting down to actual residential speeds. And what's nice about this, I like the masonry brick. Anyway, it's about 15 years newer. I think it was built in the mid 70s. This house I bought for $150 in 2021. So in order to move to a place, you have to replace the home where you're living in. The California home, if I want to replace it, costs $330,000. This one costs $150,000. That's a $180,000 difference, really twice as much, which to me is absolutely staggering. Why does it make that much difference? In Texas, you have more freedom. I guess it truly is the weather. Why does everyone say, I stay in California because of the weather? If that's the only reason that's keeping you in a sunshine state, which Texas has a lot of sunshine, you need to really rethink that, because that should not be the only reason. There's so many other reasons, and the home pricing was just one of the factors that made me switch. What I also really like about Texas is you can shop your utilities. In California, you have a huge gas and electric company, and then maybe a municipal electric company or gas, depending on where you are. Most places are 100% one company. You have one choice, one large choice that just filed for bankruptcy in the last couple of years, which doesn't really mean much. They're just going to restructure the debt. But to me, it's crazy that you only have one choice. Why do we have 10 choices for phone providers, yet we only have one choice for utility provider? That's where California really is lacking, and Texas is not. I had 5 or 6, I forgot what it was. It was either 5 or 6 options to pick my electric company. The natural gas is one. It is what it is. But at least I had choice in that matter, because the more choice you have, the more competition there is, and the consumer ends up winning. My utility bill has been a fraction of what it was in California. I would say it's about 50 to 60%, which is a big difference. Next reason why I'm moving to Texas is the income tax situation. California, you can guess it, has the highest in the union at 13.3% for the highest income earners. Now, that doesn't actually mean you'll pay 13.3% on all your income. It's called a marginal individual tax rate, which I want to maybe do another video for. But anyway, 13% on any larger income. So any of the athletes, any entertainers, they're paying over 13%. Now, contrast that with Texas. 0%. It really is a no-brainer. Yes, I understand Texas has higher property taxes, but with my income tax reduction, I'm literally going to be able to pay most of my mortgage with the money I save, which is crazy. I go from a more expensive house, from an expensive house in California to a similar house, but a lot less expensive, paying less tax, and also being able to pay my mortgage with that tax savings. Where am I missing the numbers there? Well, the numbers make sense. If you guys are enjoying this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so I can push it out to more people and more people can see what Texas is all about. If you're finishing high school or you are transferring to your university, Texas has a ton of universities that are definitely up there in the ranks. Some of them are, according to U.S. News, which is a pretty reputable rating company, Rice University, University of Texas at Austin, Southern Methodist, Texas A&M, Baylor, and of course TCU and University of Texas at Dallas. Now, again, just because they're the best universities, quote unquote best, doesn't mean that really much anything. I mean, $51,000 for a year of university, to multiply that by 4. Always remember, what am I going to be doing after university? If it's not going to help you pay off, let's just make believe, $200,000 in debt, then you really should figure out whether that's going to be right or not. I mean, look at this, 50, 40,000, 58 grand, 39 grand. Now, Texas A&M is a different story. It's 13 grand a year for in-state. But again, what you have to think about what you're going to do long term. Unless you're going to a STEM field, do you really need a psychology or physiology? No, not physiology. Sociology. Physiology is good. Sociology, all these degrees that mean they're worth as much as the paper they're printed on. Definitely keep track of whether university is a good idea or not. In hindsight, I probably should not have done university, and I probably should have just invested 100% into myself, personal development, real estate, and YouTube. If I had to go back and take those 5 years of my life back. Now, that's not everybody's situation. If you're going to be an engineer, if you're going to build things, if you're going to do something like a doctor or lawyer, you do need to go to college for that. I'm just simply saying Texas has great universities and might be a reason to move here. Next is the weather. Now, moving from California, we have pretty warm weather. It freezes sometimes, but there's pretty much no snow, but there's a decent amount of rain. Now, when it comes to Texas, there is a little tiny bit of snow depending upon where you are, and it's going to be really hot. Depending upon where you are, the humidity is sometimes a factor. I just chose a county in the middle of the state. January, high of 59. You go to June, high of 91. Again, that's the super rare. The highest it's ever going to be is close to 100 in August. Yes, that's pretty dang hot with humidity that is hot. So it's a factor. However, if you're coming from a cold state, like the Northeast, for instance, the warm weather may be a good change of pace. Now, just be ready if you're coming from cold weather. Hot weather, you wear a lot of short sleeves and shorts. So if you like bundling up, this may not be a good decision. For me, I like warm weather. Therefore, Texas is a good option. All right, question of the day. What state do you live in, and do you like it? Have you considered moving out of it? Because it really takes somebody kind of crazy to move out of their hometown and do an adventure. But that's what life is all about. Life is all about adventure. Have you thought about adventuring? Do you like your current state, and have you considered going elsewhere? Comment right now. If you're thinking Texas is all flat and there's no good scenery, no good outdoor activities, totally wrong. There are a ton of good outdoor activities. Here is Big Bend National Park. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. Lots of trails, lots of good things to walk on. Another one is Franklin Mountain State Park, good for camping, lots of trails, lots of things to walk, lots of things to do. So if you like the outdoors, this might be a good option. And then Palo Duro Canyon. It's the second largest canyon in the whole entire U.S. So if you like outdoor scene, there are tons. I mean, look at this. Trails. I mean, how many trails are in there? There's a ton of trails there. There are a ton of really, really, really nice things to do outdoors-wise. So if you like putting your camper shell on, putting your travel trailer on the back of your truck, and going somewhere to camp, Texas has a ton of options. And here's something that really surprised me. I realized that Texas is actually more free and normal than most places I've been. Now, most places are really cooped up, really close everything. Texas is there's a lot of Texas that's very, very free and open. Now, just the variety of scenery from free and open to a high-rise condo, it has pretty much everything. And the variety of houses that you can buy here are really interesting. So here's the first one. This is in Dallas. And it's a tiny little condo. Yeah, 600 square feet, a 1-1. But 65 grand. This same thing in California would be double that at least. So, and it's really not that bad looking. Built in 79, looks like it's definitely been updated. What I don't like about condos though is $250 a month for the HOA. I do not like that one bit, but they do give you benefits. So there's an option there. And then if you go to the suburbs, you can buy a decent sized house in the suburbs for nothing special, nothing too crazy, but really, it's just nice. Really, really nice. Roof replaced this year. That makes it really nice. So, a good, nice little backyard, HVAC, hot water heater, good little panel there. So, you have the suburbs, you have the condo in downtown or in the city, which a lot of amenities. Look at that nice pool. So, you can definitely go higher in the price range, but I mean, when you buy stuff that's more expensive, when it comes to a home, it usually has better amenities. I mean, look how beautiful that tile is. It's really, really, really nice. Good amount of space. 600 square feet. And then if you want to be out in the no man's land, you can do that too. This is on 10 acres. Man, talk about goals, right? 10 acres out there in Springtown. I mean, 10 acres. What can you do with that? Well, the possibilities are absolutely endless. So much space. So I think the variety of scenery and how much land. I mean, 10 acres. Gosh, it's freaking gigantic. The variety of how many different types of homes and different types of canvases that you can create your own little home is crazy. It's really, really crazy. So seeing that variety was super exciting to me. Also, what I like about Texas, it's right in the middle of the whole entire union. You can go to Miami Beach in one flight, or you can go all the way to Las Vegas or even California. It's right in the middle. That's what I really like about this. It's centrally located. I can go north. I can go to the northeast, the northwest. There's so many options, and it's right in the middle. Just a geographical benefit. And if you want to go to Mexico, hit the beaches. I mean, it's literally right there. Now, the border's a little crazy right now, so I wouldn't go right now, but there's a lot of it just being in the middle is a really big benefit, and that definitely was part of the equation. All the amendments are important, but in specific, Texas is all about the Second Amendment. That's what I really like about it. It's passing legislation currently that's going to prohibit the use of public funds towards the enforcement of future federal firearms rules and regulations that exceed those of Texas, which pretty much means that when the Democrat-controlled federal government and the three branches in total, whoever's in control, cannot come to Texas and say, hey, Texas law enforcement agency, will you help us prosecute this individual because they're breaking the federal law? Texas will say, no. It's not going to happen. That's what I really like about that. And then secondly, they're working on right now to pass the constitutional carry, which pretty much would mean that you don't need a permit, you don't need a license to carry a gun in Texas. Now, let's go back to the original idea of the Second Amendment. It's to protect against a tyrannical government and pretty much protect yourself. Why are we adding so many regulations? But that's what people are just scared of guns because they don't use them. So I'm not scared of guns. I love them. I have some of them, and they are a way of life, which is really awesome compared to California. California guns are the devil. I don't know what they are. They think they're absolutely terrible. So, and this is the thing. 99% of people who buy firearms legally do have training. They do have someone helping them. They do have someone who's going to help them throughout the process. The constitutional carry also nixes the requirement where you have to go to a firearms class, because once you put the government in charge of the firearms class, well, okay, the firearms class is $50 this year. Okay, and then what if they pass more federal legislation that says, okay, actually the class is more expensive and it means more requirements. That just makes less and less people able to protect themselves and their families. That's 99% of it. Most people buy guns legally to protect themselves and to have fun, to do sport shooting, to whatever it may be. Why are we adding more laws? I don't know. You'd have to ask the White House. Not above my pay scale, but that's what I love about Texas. They're becoming even more gun friendly than they already were, and that's a big push on a ton of people moving here because people want to protect themselves. They don't want a police that's going to be there in an hour that's not going to help, or They don't like the vilification of the police. Whatever it may be, Texas is the gun sanctuary. It's soon to be a Second Amendment sanctuary, and I'm hoping this constitutional carry passes so everyone who wants a gun legally can get it and protect themselves. I love NBA basketball, or at least that's what I said up until the last couple of years. Once the NBA, NFL, and MLB all went woke, I said, I am waking up and I am finished with sports. Truly. Texas is a huge destination. They have the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, and wow, I can't remember the third one. But they have 3 basketball teams. The Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks. That's right. My goodness, that's what I'm closest to. There are three big basketball teams. There's a bunch of football teams and baseball teams. But ever since this wokeness has infected literally everything, I've literally shunned off all sports, which makes me sad because a few years ago I was watching an NBA game every single weeknight and a few on the weekends. Yes, I was a little obsessed, so maybe it's a good thing that they went woke so I could exit for a little while. But I love watching sports. It takes the politics out of everything, it takes everything out of everything, and you focus on the athletes and the performance they're giving and what's happening. That's what's the most encouraging about sports. You take away everything, all the stresses of life, and focus on what's at hand. And I feel as though that's been taken from me, and I think many people have. The ratings of all these sports have gone down tremendously. So until they go non-woke and go back to being a business that wants to make a profit and satisfy their majority of their customers, not just their woke customers, which is a small portion of people, I'll get back on board. But until then, I will not. But love sports. Texas is a place. If you like football, you are in good company. All right, those are my 10 reasons why I'm moving to Texas. I'm out of California. I've had a great run, 3 decades, and the adventure awaits. Wish me luck. I'll see you guys in the next one.